It's time to carve out another 15 minutes in search of sanity. And by the way, no, you cannot get the 15 minutes back. My name is Mark Wilson, and joining me as always, but this time I believe from across the pond somewhere. I don't know if he's in the UK or where the hell he is. But Clive Pinsner, everybody.
I'm confused about where I am. I mean, are we got 15 seconds or 15 minutes on this
I don't
particular
know.
show?
It looks like you're in a dorm room somewhere. You're visiting your
My boarding school,
school.
or I was sent when I was 8. Let's not go there. Yeah, I am in England. I was over here for 4 weddings and a funeral. Actually,
No, seriously?
one wedding, and to complete my mother's what do they call it when you settle
Probate.
an estate?
Probate.
Probate, that's right. So yeah, one.
I almost said prostate, and then I realized, no, that's probably not the word.
No, that's what my father died of, but thanks for reminding me.
He died of his prostate? Anyway,
No,
all right, we got to move on. We're getting
Yeah.
into silly things here.
We're talking Codswallop, mate.
What?
Codswallop.
You're in Codswallop? Is that the little town?
No, we are talking Codswallop. Nonsense. Anyway, moving on. You don't like that word?
How much am I supposed to know what Codswallop means? I thought you were talking like that's the name of the town. Codswallop, England.
No, there probably is a town called. There's Upper Wallop, but no, Codswallop is a word for nonsense. Anyway, like you said, we've only got 15 minutes.
All right. So here's
what
the
do you want
topic
to talk
for the
about?
day. Here's the topic for the day. We're asking the very serious question: how do you know if something is true? We bring this up because of all the various places where we get information today. Now, you may remember, I know you grew up in Nigeria. I grew up here in the States. But where I come from, we had a couple of newspapers. We had ABC, CBS, NBC, and PBS. You had a local TV station or two. You had the radio station. So there weren't a lot of outlets, but and certainly these sources had some biases and they made some mistakes. But there was what would you call it? An overlap in what people consider to be basic facts, right? But now what do we have? We've got silly podcasts like this one. We have social media feeds, YouTube channels, the dreaded influencers. I've had enough of influencers, AI chatbots, just all kind of outlets. And many of them rely on algorithms. And those algorithms, as you well know, show us more of what we already are inclined to believe. So we used to disagree about politics. Now we're disagreeing about reality.
Yep.
Right? Am I right? So it's amazing to me how two reasonable people can witness the same event, consume entirely different information about it, and come away with completely different versions of what happened. So today we're asking the bigger question. Maybe it's a more important question. How do we know what's true? And go.
Well, we could know what's true if we did a little more work instead of just engaging in, I think, the biggest disease known to political commentary or even social commentary, which is cognitive dissonance. But I think we have to go back to the mid-60s here, Mark. There was something called postmodernism, which was a movement that came out of academia. And basically, the principle of postmodernism is what is true is what you want to be true, which is why a man can be a woman, is an apple an apple. It was really, postmodernism holds that there's really no objective truth, only competing narratives shaped by power and influence. And the 60s generation carried this into the universities, then HR departments, then school departments. And then by the time My Truth became normal usage, the groundwork has been laid for decades. And truth is literally, I mean, that's why we have, some schools say it's okay for a child to identify as a cat in classroom. If that's their truth, then they're a cat. It's the truth, man. Check it out.
Well, let me okay, wait. You're screwing me up. As always, I started a little bit depressed. Now I'm getting really depressed. But let me ask you this question. I think I heard you use this word. Are we getting, as a society, as a culture, are we getting less curious
Yes,
or less patient? Which one?
I think both.
I
Not
mean,
a good.
the algorithms that we talk about, they don't reward curiosity, they reward engagement. So they're gonna keep giving us more of what we want, not necessarily more of what we need to see in order to
Right.
form good thoughts and good opinions. Yes?
Yeah. No, absolutely. We're driven by algorithms. I mean, that was the business model of social media, wasn't it? And unfortunately, well, it was always the business model of television. Let's go back to that. Maybe explore it a little more. I mean, in your days, you had the National Broadcasting Corporation. I had the Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation, both NBC.
I would have
Once
loved to
spoke
have
with them.
seen that.
Well, they talk in pidgin English as well. It was not done in Yoruba. It was like this. Hello and welcome to the 6 o'clock news. This is this is Obichango Obawale from Lagos. Anyway,
I love
but
it. Love it. Oh,
but
I
no, I
love
mean,
it.
but seriously, I mean, the television stations chased ratings, right? But wasn't
Oh,
there in news? There was always, yeah,
yeah.
go on.
I'm not stopping you. I'm totally agreeing with you because it's something I bring up all the time. Back in the 60s, news was a cost center, not a revenue center. So it didn't matter as much. The ratings didn't matter as much. Now, news is 24/7 and it's a revenue center. But I
Yeah.
cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, no. I mean, you didn't cut me off. I think that it is. The trouble is, you just have to search for truth with even more application these days because the algorithms are going to tell you the truth they think you want to know. So I think you lay that on top of, as I say, this idea of cognitive dissonance. That's a well-known fact in social psychology. I'm just again checking my notes here, but actually there's evidence that presenting people with facts that contradict their beliefs can actually strengthen the wrong beliefs. It's called the backfire effect. So I was talking about this yesterday with we were discussing politics. Actually, it was this morning with my brother-in-law, and you can't there's no point trying to argue the facts with ideologists because they're just going to pick the facts that they want. I mean, we're all guilty of it. I think we have to work really hard at
I
avoiding cognitive dissonance.
No, I agree. I think that the curiosity it takes to get to the truth um, requires discomfort. Like anything else that's worth doing, it requires hearing something or seeing something that doesn't necessarily fit into our little worldview. So, real curiosity says, "I wonder why someone I disagree with sees the world differently." And what I try to do, and I'm not always successful, is um, show me another version and help me understand it, if that makes any sense. They're two very different things.
I think and also we are inundated with so much media these days. So it's even. I mean, how do you find truth? I mean, there are fact-checking sites that you can go on, but even they tend to be biased. I mean, we found out that a lot of the government-funded, or a lot of the fact-checking sites that people tended to go to were actually getting funding from federal governments. And here in England, the BBC has BBC Verify, but who funds the BBC? Well, I mean, it's taxpayers' dollars, but very much a sort of it's not it's an arm's length broadcasting corporation. I think it's worth looking at this whole idea. I think if you're not aware of cognitive dissonance, which actually I would hasten to add is a good reason why you should listen to In Search of Sanity, because I think I'd like to think that one superpower you'd want to have is to understand what cognitive dissonance is. And if you just look at the conversations we have between tribes. Nobody wants to hear what the other side has to say, and it's propagated in our politics. It's proven in psychology, and there's even apparently, get this, Mark, brain imaging. If you challenge political beliefs, they actually activate self-protection systems, not reasoning systems. So it's almost it is when your political beliefs are attached, it's almost like your brain sees it as a physical attack.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
you fear, you get flee or fight.
Right.
Yeah. So
One of the other things I find troubling is that we seem to have a very difficult time admitting that we're wrong.
what are you talking about? That's nonsense.
Everybody seems to know exactly what's happening and exactly who's to blame. I'm talking not just media, but our political leaders are often this same way. Certainly, Trump is this way. Trump is never wrong. You will never hear Donald Trump say I was wrong. But the same is true for every politician that I can remember in the last 20 years. But when you look at reality, things in life are wrong. Science is often wrong, right? Right? Wrong? Right? Government make mistakes. Experts, I mean, you can be wrong and it's okay.
Maybe that's a good name for a podcast. We can be wrong and it's okay. No, you're.
Well, I think it's one of the smartest phrases that people can use. I might be wrong,
but then you get into that. You know what, Mark? You actually taught me something in my early days as your foreign correspondent in a previous career of yours. To start questions with "Help me understand."
We understand. It's a beautiful phrase.
Yeah, it is. And rather than just sitting there and letting your cognitive dissonance say they must be wrong, just accept the fact that they might be right, but you don't understand it. So there's a hint for the day. Help me understand, rather than starting.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. And you know what? I'm saying that right now about these socialists who are coming onto the scene now in the Democratic Party. I'd be happy to sit down with them, and that would be my question. Help me understand why this is going to work this time when it hasn't proven itself to work at any other place at any other time. Help me understand that, because maybe, just maybe, I'm missing something.
That's a great way of looking at it. Mark, I know that we're going to try and keep to 15 minutes this time. So there is one thing I think we do have to talk about, which is AI, because I think this is going to get worse before it gets better. For those people who use AI, and I know you and I do, there is a very significant problem with AI, and that's hallucination. AI false claim rate on news prompts nearly doubled in 1 year. MIT research has shown that AI models are 34% more likely to use confident language, definitely, certainly, when generating incorrect information than correct information. So it's going to get worse before it gets better.
So can I add something to that? To that? Here's why I think, and just my opinion, you may or may not agree with me. I think we need to start teaching media literacy and
absolutely.
teaching it as seriously in schools as we teach reading and math to help overcome what you're talking about now.
I agree with you. I would take it one step further, this is not a novel idea. We need to just teach plain old civics in school. And civics, the press, the fourth estate, which the founding fathers very wisely promoted, is part of a civics class. And I think you're right. I mean, so how do we solve this problem? I mean, we start by really understanding what cognitive dissonance is, working really hard to avoid it. You and I both have friends who, if we talk, it occurred to me, Trump derangement system, Trump TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, works both ways now, because everybody thinks the people who believe Trump are deranged, and a lot of people who believe Trump, if you accuse them, you're deranged. I mean, it's a real problem.
Well, and before people accuse me of, trying to turn everybody into a skeptic, I don't think that media literacy is that. I think media literacy is a life skill, and the goal isn't skepticism toward everything; it's evaluation of everything. So, and it's not that difficult. I mean, I don't know how long it would take. It'd be interesting to kind of put together a curriculum in media literacy. Um, uh, but basically, you're asking yourself who created this when you're looking at it or hearing it. Why did they create it? What's the evidence? Can it be verified? What's missing? And you're just um, I don't know. You're just checking facts, I guess. I mean, I know it's a lot
Well,
more than that, but
it's yeah. I mean,
ask yourself who. That's the first thing I go to now is who is saying this, and then I look at who they are, and what's their motivation for saying what they're saying.
right. Yeah, we have to. I think we have to own our. We have to own the search for truth. We have to recognize that we are in a world where a postmodern world where truth. I mean, this was, and this will sound. This is not partisan. This is a fact. This was a conscious effort by a socialist-leaning um, group of people who felt that capitalism and the sort of post-war um, consensus was taking people what was basically was bad for the sort of proletariat, as it were. And so it is. And you can see it now. It is at the heart of wokeism. It is at the heart of DEI, and because it's an anathema to what we learned about. We learned post enlightenment, where we were looking for evidence, scientific evidence that you continue to challenge. We've lost that ability now.
No, I
And
agree.
and I have to apologize. We're running out of time, Mark, but I do need to apologize to the audience that again, some truth here. I didn't do a very good job of finding out where to sit because I've been in shadow and like a spotlight on some evil man for most of this show. Because
Yeah,
believe
yeah.
it or not, the sun's been out in England, and that was the cloud came over. But so I apologize in advance, audience. Listeners rather. I will do a better job of finding a better place to talk to you from.
Well, just let's leave you with this, and it's not a solution, but maybe it's some tips that you can use in your own life. Remember that algorithms influence what we see. What you're looking at online, they're going to feed you more and more and more of.
Yes.
Advertising shapes content. Um, there's a difference between news, opinion, entertainment, and advocacy. My mother looks at Fox News all day and thinks that Sean Hannity is news. She's a very intelligent woman, highly educated, but stupid when it comes to getting information. God bless her. I love you, Mama.
I'm
Um,
going to send this copy to her.
but look, I mean, verify sources, and you don't have to be like me. I'm not perfect, but I read the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times for a reason, because somewhere in there, when they're writing about the same story, there's truth, but you have
Yes.
to find it. And on the big issues, I'm going to do that. Not every issue. Who's got time in their life to do all that? But with the major issues, just find another source that you don't normally go to. There's such a great value. You will find yourself being happier in life if you go beyond your single silo.
And you can do that.
I'm done preaching.
I just to you can do that by literally, if you start searching for happy things, you'll find happy news sites. I mean, that's how the algorithms work. They're feeding you what you want. I think everything you've said, Mark, is brilliant. The one thing I would just say again is it is incumbent on us to put we all suffer from cognitive dissonance. And one of the best examples, I'll just say it again. Next time you think someone is talking BS to you or codswallop, then just say, help me understand what you mean by that, because we might be missing something.
Exactly. And please beware of emotionally manipulative headlines. Here's a good example, I think. Um, anything that ends with, and it's putting democracy in danger, or it's going to end democracy as we know it. That's an emotionally manipulative headline. So, all right, that's it. We did our 15 minutes in search of sanity in 19 minutes. I know we're getting a few people who are asking us to do a longer version of this, though, right?
We are, and because we always listen to our listeners, we are going to do, I think, is it our next show? Might be an hour interview
But yeah,
with,
it's in
yeah,
search of sanity interviews.
interviews, yeah, when we're going to bring on interesting guests, and the next one, well, we'll send you some emails or messages through Substack on what that's going to be.
Right, cool. All right, my friends, thank you very much for joining us, Clive. Enjoy yourself in Codsworth or wherever the hell you are over in the UK. And look forward to you coming back to the States. And ladies and gentlemen, go ahead.
No,
Sorry.
that's if they'll let me back in.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. Anyway, thank you all for listening to our 15 Minutes in Search of Sanity, and we will catch you next time.
Thanks, everybody.